Oil has dominated global transportation for over a century on three unchallenged advantages: range, refuel speed, and cold weather reliability. In 2025, a single Chinese company neutralized all three: 1,500 kilometers on one charge, 520 kilometers added in 5 minutes, full operation at minus 40 degrees. These are verified specs from CATL, and the pattern behind them points to something the oil industry cannot afford to ignore. In April 2025, CATL's Freevoy dual-power battery forced a new question into the global energy debate. What happens when range stops being a problem? The company's public claim, 1,500 kilometers of pure electric driving on a single charge, lands well beyond the capabilities of any production electric vehicle outside China. The Freevoy pack achieves this not through a single chemistry, but by splitting the battery into two zones: a high-energy nickel-cobalt-manganese sector, NCM, and a high-power lithium iron phosphate sector, LFP. Each zone operates independently, managed by its own battery control system. When the main NCM section drops below 30% state of charge, or when a surge of power is needed for acceleration, the system hands over to the LFP bank. The transition is nearly instantaneous, just 200 milliseconds, ensuring no loss of torque or drivability. This dual-core architecture is a departure from the single chemistry packs used in Western electric vehicles. By combining the high energy density of NCM with the cycle life and safety of LFP, CATL's engineers sidestep the trade-offs that have defined battery design for a decade. The company's technical documentation describes a pack with over 150 kilowatt-hours usable, a volumetric density above 1,000 watt-hours per liter, and a gross capacity that can power a mid-size SUV from Beijing to Shanghai, over 1,200 kilometers without stopping. The official range figure is based on the WLTP test cycle, the same protocol required for European market entry. CATL's public materials cite internal validation, but third-party laboratory data has not yet been released. Even so, the architecture itself is documented in patent filings and company prospectuses, leaving little doubt about the engineering leap. For drivers, the numbers erase the last psychological barrier to electric adoption: distance anxiety. A 1,500-kilometer range covers the longest intercity routes in China and Europe on a single charge, with margin for detours. The Freevoy system is not a laboratory prototype but a commercial product, slated for rollout in 2026. The technical solution is Chinese, the scale is Chinese, and the standards are being set in China, while Western rivals are still optimizing single chemistry packs for incremental gains. A 5-minute stop at a highway charger now delivers 520 kilometers of range, enough to transform the very meaning of refueling. The breakthrough comes from CATL's Shengxing 12C battery, which claims a peak charge rate of 12C, translating to 1.3 megawatts of power delivered directly to the pack. The underlying physics are as aggressive as the numbers suggest. At full tilt, the battery receives more energy in 5 minutes than most homes consume in a day. Yet cell temperatures are kept below 45 degrees Celsius thanks to liquid cooling plates and a tightly managed charging curve. For drivers, this means the old gasoline advantage, quick fill-ups and no waiting, has been erased. The experience is measured not in hours but in minutes. Pull into a compatible station, plug in, grab a coffee, and by the time you return, the car is ready for another 500 kilometers. CATL's documentation describes a charge protocol that ramps quickly to peak power, then tapers to protect the cells, all while keeping the thermal envelope stable. The company's engineers point to patent filings for high-current interconnects and an adaptive battery management system that coordinates thousands of cells in real time. Third-party testing remains limited. Cenex, a UK-based lab, has measured up to 8C charging on a prototype Shengxing module without overheating, but the full 12C claim is still awaiting independent validation. Even so, the practical reality is clear. The barrier of slow charging, long used to justify oil's dominance, is being dismantled by Chinese battery makers. The next challenge shifts from the battery itself to the grid and infrastructure. How to deliver megawatt-class charging at scale without overwhelming existing networks. For now, the technical edge belongs to China, and the West is left to catch up. In February 2026, engineers at CATL staged a demonstration that targeted the last technical objection to electric vehicles: cold weather reliability. Inside a certified cold chamber, a sodium-ion battery pack was subjected to the GBT 31467-2020 protocol, a standard that simulates deep winter conditions far beyond the reach of most lithium-ion cells. The pack retained 93% of its usable capacity at minus 30 degrees Celsius. Even when the temperature dropped to minus 40, the system continued to deliver functional power, enough to keep a vehicle in motion, even at 0% state of charge. The underlying mechanism is not a simple chemistry tweak. CATL's sodium-ion cathode uses a proprietary low-temperature additive that suppresses the freezing of electrolyte solvents. This innovation keeps ion mobility high, even as molecular motion slows to a crawl in extreme cold. Internal sensors monitor phase changes in real time, adjusting charge and discharge rates to avoid lithium plating and catastrophic failure. The company's technical white paper describes a thermal retention layer built into the cell casing designed to minimize heat loss during overnight parking in sub-zero climates. No lithium-ion pack from a Western automaker has published comparable data under the same conditions. Most lose a third of their range below minus 20, making electric vehicle adoption in regions like Siberia, Scandinavia, or northern Canada a non-starter. CATL's sodium-based platform, by contrast, is now certified under China's GB 38031-2025 safety standard, the first time a sodium-based traction battery has met a national-level requirement for electric vehicles. Validation engineers at CATL have mapped out winter test routes across Inner Mongolia and Heilongjiang, plotting real-world drive cycles that mirror the cold chamber results. The message is direct. The era of electric vehicles faltering in deep winter is closing. Oil's last technical refuge, reliable cold start and range in extreme climates, now faces a direct challenge, engineered and certified in China. CATL and Chang'an's sodium-ion battery platform enters mass production in early 2026, targeting the core vulnerability of lithium-based chemistries, supply risk, and cost. The sodium-ion cell delivers 175 watt-hours per kilogram, a figure once dismissed as out of reach for sodium chemistry. It supports rapid charging at 5C and is rated for 10,000 full cycles, numbers that rival or surpass mainstream LFP lithium packs in longevity and speed. The decisive moment comes with the GB38031 2025 safety certification, issued by China's national standards body in April. This is the first sodium-ion traction battery to clear a national-level safety bar anywhere in the world. The resource map is blunt. Sodium is over 1,000 times more abundant than lithium, with deposits spread across continents and immune to the choke points that define lithium, cobalt, and nickel supply. CATL's deployment teams, working with Chang'an, roll out the first certified sodium-ion passenger vehicles on Chinese roads, sidestepping the price volatility and geopolitical constraints that have plagued Western battery supply chains. With sodium-ion, China is not just adding another chemistry, it is opening a scalable, secure path for electric mobility, one that shifts the global cost curve and resets the logic of resource dependency. In July 2026, the Standardization Administration of China publishes GBTX-XXX 2026, the world's first national standard for automotive solid-state batteries. The technical bar is set high, 450 to 500 watt-hours per kilogram, with 80% charge reached in just 10 minutes. Patent filings from CATL, BYD, and Gotion describe sulfide-based electrolytes and lithium metal anodes, each claiming energy densities that would double today's best lithium-ion packs. The China All-Solid-State Battery Innovation Platform, CASIP, lists 2027 as the pilot production year, aligning with the Ministry of Industry's roadmap. CICC's market forecast quantifies the scale of this transition. By 2030, domestic equipment spending for solid-state battery manufacturing is projected to hit 27.3 billion yuan, driven by a compound annual growth rate above 120%. Equipment vendors scramble to supply dry room glove boxes, high-temperature sintering furnaces, and robotic stacking lines, each step essential for mass-producing solid-state cells at automotive scale. The first certified pilot lines are scheduled to deliver cells for aviation and marine demonstrators in 2027, pushing Chinese engineering into markets where weight and safety are non-negotiable. In less than 2 years, the technical definition of a battery and the global balance of power and energy storage will be written into Chinese law. China's battery industry now holds more than half of global electric vehicle battery market share, with CATL and BYD together exceeding 50%, an unprecedented concentration of technical and commercial power. Patent filings tell a similar story. Chinese entities account for 3 out of every 4 new clean energy patents worldwide, up from just 5% at the start of the century. This intellectual property dominance is not limited to the lab. It is matched by real-world deployment. By the end of 2025, China's installed solar photovoltaic capacity reached 315 gigawatts, more than the next 3 countries combined. Scenario modeling from leading energy analysts draws a stark line across the next decade. If current trends persist, oil demand for road transport could fall by 30 to 50% by 2035. The models are not speculative. They are grounded in battery production forecasts, vehicle turnover rates, and grid integration data. Each scenario, whether conservative or aggressive, now treats battery supply as the primary lever for oil displacement. The numbers are clear. As Chinese battery output scales and patents lock in technical standards, the world's dependence on OIL is no longer a given. Policymakers and investors face a narrowing window. The technical barriers that once protected oil are falling, and the strategic center of gravity is shifting fast. China now fields batteries with 1,500 kilometers of range and 5-minute charging, specs the West has yet to match, let alone mass produce. As Beijing sets the first global solid-state standards in 2026, the question shifts. Will others catch up or simply follow? Drop your perspective in the comments.